Advanced philosophy memes. We make good memes. Advanced philosophy memes. Base fucking memes. Advanced philosophy memes. We make good memes. Advanced philosophy memes. Base fucking memes. Shoutouts to Aquarius, Deacon, my boy Scott, Pedro, and everyone else that engages on my posts. And Sarah, keep it up, man. You'll get there someday. And everyone else from Great Memes.
Good evening, APM. It's your boy Terrorisk. And I guess we're going to do something a little different tonight because Andreas, our great ringleader, usually for these kinds of streams, is unavailable today. And this was kind of last minute. He just kind of thrusted it on my shoulders and was like, just do whatever you want. So, and this was like super last minute, couldn't get anyone else. So I figured tonight I could just like read your chats, you know, because you guys, it's just me and you. All right. Like, I don't have anyone to like distract myself with, so my attention is 100% fully on you guys. And also I want to say thank you for showing up tonight. And I did send out some invites, you know, maybe they will answer, even though it was like literally a half hour ago. So yeah, I hope everyone's having a good night. I do wish Andres was here. Shit, I wish anyone was here, but right now it's just me, Jameson, Weed, and you guys. So let's see. Yeah, the title of it, I didn't come up with this, by the way. Practice kindness all day to everybody, and you will realize you're already in heaven. Someone was like, don't tell me what to do. Maybe thought that was too authoritative. Does this apply to Navy SEALs? Just wondering. I don't know. Good question. I mean, can you kindly murder someone? Can you kindly kill someone like that? Can you kindly end someone's life? Let's see. Yo, here we go. I was being tested today, that's for sure. Crispy Cruise 4. What's wrong, Crispy? Tell us about your troubles. And it's not like you're paying money for these chat reads, all right? This is all just me. So I don't know. As far as being kind, I think forgiveness is more important than kindness. Lately, I've been on a big forgiveness tip, and you know, I was thinking about like how hard it can be to forgive certain things and not forgive others, and especially considering like who you are or where you're at in life. Like if you're married or you have kids, I guess certain things just become a lot less forgivable. Like if someone harms your kids or if someone like kills your spouse in a drunk driving accident, like how the hell am I supposed to forgive that? So I don't know. And it's funny because like forgiveness is supposedly a pivotal thing, right? With spirituality and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, yeah, being kind, I think is something we should all strive to be, but usually I think like forgiveness goes further because it's like, you know, sometimes we fuck people over without really meaning to, you know, sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions. DM, married with 6 kids. God bless to you and the family. Yeah, it's I wonder about that too. Like as a single person myself with like no kids, unmarried, I always think like I could probably forgive anything, because it's just me getting fucked over. But if it was like my kids, if I had any, or my spouse, I think yeah, that'll be a lot more difficult. Like, how do you do that? How do you reconcile having a family with like trying to be uh, a truly forgiving person? Not just like conditionally forgiving or forgiving when it's like convenient. I guess I don't know. It sounds tough. Let's see. Crawfish Cigarette says ahoy. Yeah, I'm really sorry Andreas isn't here, guys. I had the option to just sort of to just like pass on this, but I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot. All right. Cause a lot of times you guys are just like sitting there hearing us fucking talk your ears off. And this might be a good time to like have you guys heard for once. So, and it's also funny because like I feel like when we do these streams, right? All the other guys, like I think a lot of them don't read the comments, but I do. It's like I'm reading everything you guys are fucking saying. Okay. And I'll admit some of it's hurtful, but it's all good. It's all a part of the game. And I have fun with it. And I guess that's kind of like also an unfair advantage, right? To seem more personable like on stream compared to like other people who aren't paying attention to what like the chat is saying. If you are like conscious of it, then you're even if you don't think you're doing it, like you're gonna constantly like change yourself to try to be more likable seeming. You can't not do it. I mean, what are you gonna do? Just like sit here and be unlikable to people? So yeah, I like to pay attention to the chat. It makes streaming more enriching for me. I think that's what it's all about, right? You read the chats, people pay money for you to read the chats, and then you fucking read them and answer some questions and whatnot. So yeah, I didn't mind doing that. I don't know. I guess some people do have a problem with doing that. Like I always thought like podcasting and streaming and posting like content online wasn't really that big of a deal. But then, I have a lot of friends who make art and stuff. And yeah, I feel like when it comes time for them to like really present themselves online, it's like when that time comes, first of all, you're never going to get what you do perfectly. It's never going to be good enough. Like once you put it out there, someone's going to fucking hate on it. Like someone's going to shit on it. Someone's going to love it. You can't really control that no matter where you're at. So it's like, I mean, that's, I guess, how I feel about that. I'm saying like, I wish my creative friends would have a little bit more courage, put themselves out there a little bit more with their stuff, even if it sucks. I feel like the experience is good. I'm not saying like I'm any good at it, like presenting myself online to the world or anything like that. But I think, I don't know, as long as if I was just, I guess, authentic to a degree, at least, then there's really nothing else I really have to worry about, right? Like it's kind of like a take it or leave it kind of deal. If you're not trying to like hurt anyone, if you're not trying to push any kind of political agenda and you just kind of want to hang out with the world, then like, what else is there? Let's see. DM says, do I watch UFC since I'm into martial arts to a degree? I'm not like a super fan of UFC, but I definitely like a lot of like reels and highlights and stuff. Especially with some of these new names, like there's that tall dude Israel, and there's like Alex Pereira. Like those guys are beasts. And I'm sure there's all sorts of drama that I'm just like completely ignorant to, like probably embarrassing moments for both those guys even. But as for like professional MMA in general, I think what makes it kind of interesting and kind of lame, but also cool is it's the restrictions, right? It's the rules. Like you have to wear gloves, you're omitted from doing certain techniques because it just does too much damage. And it's all understandable considering it's a sport, but like it's kind of like unfair when people would say like, yeah, that would never work in the octagon. That would never work in the octagon. Yeah, because in the octagon, you're not allowed to like poke people's eyes out or like twist their balls off or like all sorts of nasty stuff, which is, I don't know. I always thought that was more in line with martial arts. But if it's a combat sport, I mean, you got to have the rules and it's going to create its own like parameters for performance. And yeah, I like it. I dig it. Because, you clearly have to be like really athletic to be able to do all that stuff. And striking's just fucking cool. Like it's just cool to see a guy get knocked out by a well-placed punch, I think anyway. And it probably tickles some animal drive for violence within us. And Yeah, good stuff. Let's see. Imagine the effect of the allowance of every ripple combined in one fluid body when we were all in mutual accord. Ooh, that moment. Like, yeah, I guess like synchronicity. Oh, this is from Christian P. Norris. The allowance of every ripple combined in one fluid body. In a lot of ways, you could say like that's what everything is. It's just ripples of energy. I guess sometimes manifesting as physical matter, sometimes manifesting as like different forms of energy, I guess. And I mean, see, these are all observable things, and this is the kind of stuff they could like easily teach you in school. But what no one taught me about was like the nature of will and consciousness, and the nature of the kind of ripples that your consciousness or your metaphysical awareness or senses would actually emit. And that mixed with the idea of like reality being downstream from consciousness, that's like, I mean, yeah, you could just say it casually offhand like that, but if you really ingest the implications of that, it's like that could be potentially life changing, right? Because if so many people are living a life where they're just constantly reacting to like external stimulus that's just being presented before them and thinking that life happens to them, there's a lot of people who maybe they're an atheist, maybe they're just like a scientist or just someone embedded in like a materialist worldview, and basically they believe that they are a product of their environment or that life happens to them essentially. And that could work for a while, but I don't know, that's eventually going to come with its own set of problems. And then you could start thinking as an individual like, oh no, I happen to life, like I control my surroundings, and that could also lead to like terrible problems, because then you become like an egomaniac, if you even get that far, because you could just like immediately get burnt out. Let's see. Smealin's Wrath. Sound is that which gives matter and energy resonance, definition, and form. Yeah, sound. Sound is I think about sound a lot, for sure. I mean, not just like in a literal sense, but I guess in a sense of like, since everything supposedly vibrates, everything supposedly oscillates between states of polarity, and not just physical things, like even our moods, I guess. I mean, if you're talking in like the positive and negative spectrum of things. So yeah, things are, the only thing you can be sure of is that everything's kind of like swinging like a pendulum, right? It's never going to be all bad or all negative or all dark, and it's never going to be all positive, all good all the time. It's constantly swinging back and forth. So it's like you could be like, constantly stuck on that pendulum, or I guess this is what practices like meditation or prayer is for, because it allows you to basically swing an adjacent right angle. So it's like every time it goes bad, you could go up, because that's when you meditate or pray. And then when it goes, when times get good again, that's when you could just sink into your material senses and just enjoy it, like be a human being, be an animal, be a product of a good environment, just sink into it. So yeah, but the thing that's really important about all of it is that pendulum, that swing will never stop. It'll never stop swinging back and forth. Like if times are good, like you can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to swing the other way eventually. And if times are bad, you could also bet that it's going to swing the other way eventually too. It's just, I think problems really happen when you try to like keep that swing static. You have to just accept the oscillations. Let's see. Well, I'm kind of biased. My dad was an electroacoustic architectural engineer. Cool job. He had multiple patents having to do with spherical speaker enclosures with a parabolic reflector dish that reduced distortion by 85%. Okay, so I'm getting that your dad is an inventor, and he's able to he created a certain speaker design that emits a less distorted signal. All right, that's cool. I hope you made some money off that. Pro Solution 17 asks, any good new DJs? Who is my favorite? Who are my musical influences? DJs, I was never really I was never really schooled on like big DJ names or like even their work mostly, because it's a little difficult, for me to follow DJs, because I used to just follow like bands and artists, and you buy an album, listen to all the songs in the album, great, you're done. If you want to get into a DJ, you got to like get into like hour-long sets or 2-hour-long sets at a time, maybe 45 minutes, and you're not even listening to their original stuff usually. You're listening to their mix, which is good. I like it. It's kind of like, like the whole meal, as opposed to just one dish in the full course meal. So yeah, that's what the DJ is kind of like presenting. And I don't know. I mean, at some point, it's like how often am I gonna want to just sit there and listen to an hour-long DJ set? I mean, for long drives, it's cool, but most of the DJs out here were like when I went to warehouse parties or like raves or something. So a lot of local acts, and being in New York, there's like so many local acts. And as for my musical influences, I would say when I was like, I was playing music since I was like 6, I guess, but I didn't care about playing music until I was like 14, and I started going to punk shows, like local punk shows, and I started jamming with bands, and that was a good time. Like we would just cut school, drink a bunch of 40s, roll a bunch of weed, and just, jam like little hooligans. And then I discovered raving, which is really cool, because then I discovered like the value of actual music production, like not just thinking about music making from the musician's lens, but from the overall producer's lens. Like that's when I got more into like song structure, and that like combination of being able to A, play, improvise an ensemble, and B, learn how to produce using like DAWs, learning how the gear works, like learning how signal channeling works and all that stuff. I was able to combine that, and I feel like now it's a lot easier for me to just put together whatever I want. If you know how to put together a song, if you know how to use your tools, and if you know how to jam, if you have groove, then like you got it. And yeah, so that's pretty much how I got like my journey, I guess, into making music. Let's see. Yeah, Mjolnir's Wrath's dad apparently has this crazy speaker design. I kind of want to see a picture of it at some point. Let's see, including figured out that the 7% of all mechanical motion in piston, turbine, engine, rifle, round, or rocket is actually acoustic waveform energy, only 30% heat. Oh, that makes sense. And figure out how to harness that energy to produce. That's really cool. And from an engineering perspective, yeah, I do see the value in that, because I mean, even like I just got a fun car. It's not even anything serious. It's S197 2005 Mustang, 5-speed manual V6, and it just put me down a rabbit hole for like learning about cars and modding cars and stuff. And when it comes to like serious manufacturers, like say Ferrari or Porsche or even Volkswagen, I think Volkswagen owns Porsche or the other way around. I don't know, but like basically, a lot of the performance exhaust sound you get from even their like OEM mufflers, like that's like a lot of that specifically designed. Like they specifically engineer that to sound good or coherent or consistent with like the overall aesthetic and vibe of the car, which is kind of crazy to think about. I mean, that doesn't really have much to do with even performance or like energy efficiency or anything like that. But it's interesting to think like they've gotten to the point of excess where it's like they're thinking, well, we got to design these things so they don't sound so annoying when you drive it. You just want to get rid of it. And it's like, I thought that was really interesting, that people actually care about the muffler sound to that degree. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. It also reminds me of like, it just goes to show like how technical capitalism can actually be, or like consumerism. Like for example, like a McDonald's bag, that smell that you smell when you open up a freshly bought bag of McDonald's burgers and fries, that's scientifically engineered to make you want to go get more McDonald's. Like they even got the smell down. And I think that's kind of like the same thing, right? It's like, yeah, we got the product now. How can we just get better at selling it, presenting it, dressing it up, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting shit. Yvonne says, "God damn, a puppy show up in my backyard. What should I do?" Check up for a collar, I guess. Like, make sure it doesn't belong to anyone. which is actually it's interesting. My friend was recently in a country, I forgot what fucking country it was, probably some third world country, and he was basically saying there's like wild dogs, and that's scary compared to like stray cats in your area, in your neighborhood. Like dogs will, if they're big enough and like rowdy enough, they'll like kill for fun, whereas cats just kind of, it's like, oh cute, look at that. But I don't know, it's like I wonder what it would be like, you know, just just living in a town where wild dogs are the norm. That would be something. Bruce says, be water, my friend. Excellent advice. Be water. Interesting thing I learned about water recently. I don't know how this works, but I've heard a couple of people, different like sources say this basically, that water could store emotional data, or water is capable of storing um, emotional memory. So like if you sit there and like, you know, scream angry shit at a cup of tap water and then you drink it, apparently that's like, that could potentially mess you up on some uh extremely extremely fine level, I guess, um or some energetic level. But also if you do the opposite, like say words of affirmation, words of gratitude, loving things to a cup of water before drinking it, it's supposedly it works better for you, you know, kind of like a healing substance or a healing tonic. And actually what made me kind of believe this was how plants get affected by sound. Basically, it's like when you have two of the same species potted plants just next to each other, same conditions essentially, but you make one listen to, say, angry, negative music, whereas the other one's listening to like positive, maybe uplifting, maybe classical, transcendent music. The one that's listening to the transcendent tunes apparently grows taller, grows stronger, grows stiffer, grows more vibrant, while the other one apparently has a tougher time. And you know, you would wonder why that is. It could just be one of like the great mysteries of nature, but I think it has to do with the water. I think it's how like maybe how the oscillations affect the water. Maybe your emotional state or your consciousness can emit some kind of electromagnetic, very faint electromagnetic push or something. I don't know what to call it, but it definitely affects the water in some way, right? It's got to be. It's got to be the water. And some, I think some Japanese scientist did it too with rice. Like he did the same experiment, just screamed angry things at one container of rice, said nice things and about like gratitude and whatever to the other, and basically the one he was verbally abusing essentially just rotted a lot faster. So interesting shit, right? Think the movie Frozen. It was about that. Interesting. I haven't seen Frozen in a hot minute. My little sister loved that shit, but like she's like kind of an adult now. Okay, Make America Green Again. What's going to happen when cooperativism and adaptive modes of organization start to modify predatory capitalism? Just curious. Maybe Roger Hallam gets released by July 2025. Okay, so one, I'm an idiot. You know, like I'm relatively uneducated, but I don't know who. Also, don't know who Roger Hallam is. But as far as the first part, like, what's going to happen when cooperativism and adaptive modes of organization start to modify predatory? Okay, so first thing, I have to look up what cooperativism is, and then I'll take it from there. Let's see. I also have to share the screen, so make sure I don't forget. Let's see. Cooperativism is a social and economic system where people voluntarily unite to meet their common needs and aspirations through jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprises, emphasizing self-help, self-responsibility, and solidarity. I mean, you see this happening, right? Like that, to me, that kind of sounds like syndicalism. I mean, aside, like a lot of times, like it sounds like even certain gangs or like criminal organizations could possibly fall under this like definition. Even I'm not saying they're good or bad. I'm just saying like that would be my, you know, like my tiny bit of insight into it. And I don't know, I guess I would see it already. It's really about who's got the money. Start to modify predatory capitalism. I'm trying to think of where such organizations really fall in predatory capitalism. Because in predatory capitalism, scammers are necessary. Like, you need scammers because they help stimulate the economy. That's why they're pretty much allowed to exist. And that's the most predatory form of like capitalism, when you're telling people you're going to provide a service or good and you just don't. So it's like, okay, so I think my take on it is that basically I don't know what other forms of predatory capitalism that we could possibly think of or reference or put on the table, but I think scamming is definitely going to evolve. I mean, it already is. There, people are constantly going to be thinking of new ways to like steal digital assets and all sorts of intangible things that we ascribe our value to. But also, yeah, with like evolved criminals, you also need like evolved forms of cops, investigators, law enforcement. I mean, at the very least, it'll be interesting. That's what I think is going to happen. I think things are going to get interesting. Yeah, I guess that's my take on it. Let's see. Be like the water from the Yellow River diverted into Dalyang by Jack Andrews. I think I know what this is referencing in terms of like the Yellow River. Let me just make sure. Huanghe, the second longest river in China and the sixth longest river system on Earth. Yeah, that is pretty yellow. Hold on, let me share the screen. Let's see. Here we go. Boom. Yeah, this is a this is a yellow ass river. I mean, is that why they call it that? Did they just see this and they were like, "Yo, this someone like it looks like God peed in this whole river. This is like the Chinese mythical dragon's personal toilet." Crazy. Learn something new every day. The Yellow River. Let's see. Yvonne says, intention. It came from the one. You are the one, as we are. Yeah, this one I feel like it seems simple to put into words because I mean it probably is. It's just I feel like you have to be in a specific state, emotional, mental, physical state to kind of like just like maybe at the right time or something, and you hear it and then it kind of clicks and you're like, oh, my version of it would be like everyone's the same soul living out different lives in different bodies. Basically, everyone's just God forcing himself to forget their God for like a human lifetime. For what reason? I have no idea. I mean, people have like come up with like, I don't know, I guess very cynical interpretations of it. They were like, oh, you were just so bored and so lonely and so miserable as God. You had to like put yourself into like the greatest VR video game ever. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. It could be true. I don't know if it's not true, but yeah, I do believe that it does come from the same source, things like intention. And also like, when it comes to self-alignment of like body, mind, and soul, it's really so you could have a higher threshold for that like godly energy, I guess, that godly essence. I mean, none of us can be God, right? We're just human beings. And I'm sure if we tried, life would figure out a way to vaporize us, I guess, in a way. Like, for example, an infinitely benevolent God would be like unconditionally forgiving, or unconditionally loving. So what are you going to do if like a gang or a mob is like beating the shit out of you and stabbing you? Like, what are you going to do? Be like, oh, I love you. I forgive you. I give grace upon thee. Like, no, you can't do that. You'll die. So it's like, that's no way to live. But the more aligned you are, like the stronger your body is, the more harmonized your mentality is, the more emotionally, I guess, unblocked you are, in your chakra points. then the more you're able to adopt it. Because it's not just about becoming smarter, it's not just about becoming stronger, and it's not just about becoming, I don't know, more emotionally stable. I think it's really just once those like three pillars are aligned, then the engine's just started, you know, like then you, as long as your alignment holds, like you're constantly going to be moving or ascending or transcending or becoming more crystalline and spirit structure, like the new agers like to put it. I don't know. That's my take on it. I mean, it makes the most sense to me because everything else just seems too materialist. Like, oh, you got to be the strongest in body, or you got to be the smartest in mind, or whatnot. You know, just doesn't. I don't know. Doesn't really resonate with me, I guess, the right way. But alignment, harmony, that does kind of make sense because, you know, self-alignment doesn't really require you to control the environment, control others. It's really about controlling the self, you know, and that's another thing I say. It's like you can't control what happens to you. You can only control how you respond. So yeah, I can't control bad things that happen to me. The only thing I can control is like how I respond to it, if I even think about it, that is. So yeah, intention, God, source. Scott Dubois. I hope I didn't butcher that name. Hi, Chris. Where is Andreas? Well, as I said before, Andreas is absent today. He kind of just told me, he was like, "Yeah, I'm stranded in Big Sur, so you just run it without me." And it was also last minute, like the setup and everything. Like I wasn't sure if I was gonna even do it tonight, because like, you know, he was our ringleader, and since he wasn't around, it's like it was kind of hard to get people together. But I figured, you know, I could either just pass on tonight, or I could show up for you guys and, you know, do like a chat focused stream, you know, because like you guys are always just sitting there listening to us talk your ears off. So now you could at least have one of us talk to you guys and acknowledge the things you say, make you feel seen. Let's see. Sir Real Nil Mill says, how is purpose differing from intention? Purpose, enthusiasm, and effort, the triune godhead of all cults. Intention. I don't know. To be honest, I don't really bank on intention too much. I know it's probably very important, but I haven't really spent too much time pondering intention. But I do think about attention a lot, like with an A, because I view attention as a form of energy, and whatever you focus your attention on, it's kind of like feeding whatever that is. You know, it's like a beam of energy coming from your mind. Like whatever you're focused on, it's just going to become more of your reality. And you know, I've had like rebuttals saying like, well, you can't just stare at yourself in the mirror and become fitter. And that's not what I was saying. What I really meant was, it's if you just sit there staring at your body in front of the mirror, then that is what's going to be just magnify and become more of your reality. Like it may not change anything about it, but within, as far as your interaction goes with your reality, it's going to be about that, you know, whatever you focus on. And you know, we might take that for granted and be like, yeah, no duh, but like before you know it, like maybe 15 minutes after the stream's over, you're gonna find yourself like focusing on really petty shit that you probably don't have to be focused on. Same with me, you know, like I catch myself doing that shit all the time. But yeah, you know, it's definitely something to, I guess, be more considerate of, like where your attention is actually going. And yeah, as far as what, I mean, I think there's a few things that kind of like pushed me to be more conscious of it, but I don't know. I mean, it's just a bunch of little things that add up. Like, I guess getting more sleep, consistent exercise, staying away from like bad internet content, like prawn and stuff, you know, just spiritual detritus. And also, there's also the harder topics that you really can't avoid, like politics. It seems like you can never avoid it. There's also material, like genuine material concerns for people, you know, like, you know, maybe some drama in your family member's life might as well become your drama, because even if you're not a part of it, you still end up like dealing with it every day. So yeah, this is what I mean when like attention could get hijacked. And it's not always a bad thing, but it's definitely something that I think for some reason like a lot of people just seem unaware of, like, because it is kind of meta. I'm not even that great with it. Like, I'll lose myself doom scrolling sometimes. It's like we're all guilty of it. It's all good in the hood. We're all human. Let's see. Andrew Millison does some great tours of global regional sized water harvesting schemes, mainly in India. India. I've never been to India. I would like to go to India. Let's see this guy, Andrew Millison. I wonder if he has a kind face. Yeah, he seems like a genuinely adventurous guy. I'll check his water stuff out for sure. Let's see. Mjolnir's Wrath says socialism always ends up in dictatorship. I've never lived in a socialist place before, so that's why I can't. I mean, I could have like thoughts on it, just like everyone else, but I don't think I've ever experienced life in a socialist country. You know what? I'll circle back to this. I'll try to think of like people I know who may have had experiences that I know really well, and maybe I could recall it. Cyril, that's the key. PEE, giant yellow rivers of being politely nice until people give you their support in monetary form. Okay. Let's see. Yvonne says, everyone is scared. There is no community. How can you have cooperativism? That's true. Everyone is scared. I mean, I would say everyone is only scared because it's such a fundamental human emotion, right? Like, fear helps keep us alive. But it's definitely something that I think what really matters is like you have to be really conscious of what exactly you're afraid of. Like certain fears are probably more rational to have than others. Like, I don't know, like if you feel scared while a guy's pointing a gun at your face, that's probably a reasonable, response. But if you feel scared of, I don't know, looking stupid to the point where it's like holding you back in life, to the point where it's like a detriment, it's like, would looking stupid be really that bad? Like, to at least not worth the risk of learning something new, of trying something new. Yeah, you'll take a hit, take a couple punches, but you'll be a lot better at avoiding punches after that. Like, there's, as my martial arts teacher would say, like, pain is a very, very instructive teacher. And he's right. It is. I could tell you from personal experience. And, once you take a few punches, that also helps with the fear, because you're like, well, it didn't kill me and it sucked. Yeah. But I don't know, you kind of get used to it and you get better at it. You get better at avoiding hits. So you're like, okay, cool. And it becomes like a game, that just sucks a little extra harder when you lose. But yeah, everyone is scared. I think it's when it comes to gauging like the fear levels of a community, it's really important to consider the context of what they're afraid of. Like, are they afraid of, is it a scarcity issue? Like, are they afraid of they won't have enough to eat the next day? Because that could be a valid fear, like that's pretty natural. And I mean, okay, like a really good manifestation of this would be like the influx of illegal immigrants from the southern border into America, because that's, people would be like, why don't they just stay in their country? And I would tell them, well, it's because they get paid like $5 an hour and their country is run by murderous drug lords. Like, literally, they'll kill you if they don't like you. Our government doesn't do it that often, like they do it. So that's like something worth running from. Like, not only can you not eat, but you can't even like rely on your government to really keep you safe. So yeah, you're gonna leave your country and run away. And also, it's like our culpability as Americans. Like, we did this, like this is our responsibility pretty much, because it's our dollars that put the drug lords into power in the first place, right? Because America has like an insatiable need for narcotics, like no one else. Like, we can't stop doing drugs. We need the drugs, and this makes the drug lords who run Mexico extremely rich, like unfathomably rich. And it's a Gordian knot. You know, it's one of those problems where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. There really is no clean, good solution. That's all fear based. You know, it's all like generating this fear from, like, as you say, predatory capitalism, which is like, that's also like, I would call that like peak predation, you know, in a capitalist sense, because it is like just a trade of a single product. And it's not even like they're trading guns or like bazookas or anything. It's fucking cocaine. You know, could even consider it a medicine, right? So yeah, fear. Like what is the given community actually afraid of? Are they just afraid of losing power? Are they afraid of like not having food? Are they afraid of not having like rights or freedom? And the freedom to do what? Like, that's another good question. Scribbles says, if things can pick up energy from the people around them, it makes me wonder about the different people handling weed, especially if it's street weed. Well, yeah, I mean, this also goes back to what I was just saying about cartels. Like, you know, I mean, if you ever did cocaine, you might as well be doing like the blood of innocent Mexican people up your nose. You know, like I mean, I'm guilty as fuck too. Like, I've done it, and I've definitely done it with this in mind, which probably makes it extra fucked up. But I still think about it at the very least. It almost feels like a responsibility. Like, I can't not think about this shit. And to be fair, like, I also hardly do cocaine, if at all, these days. Like, I'm fucking 33 now. I've had my fun. But yeah, weed too. Weed is a big one. Like, I think it was like the Guadalajara cartel or something. Like, they were the big weed guys for a while until they moved on to like cocaine or something. And yeah, I bet it's like bad vibes weed. I bet the weed is bad vibes, you know, because I don't know. I mean, it's heavily being mixed in with like the vibes from like criminals and killers and shit. So yeah, that makes sense. I guess that is something to think about. But then again, like, yeah, I suppose you could always like grow your own stuff, you know, probably a fun project. You guys are killing it with the engagement. Human intentions never changes, no matter the technology or times. Human greed is universal. Yeah, that's kind of like saying like true altruism is a lie. I mean, yeah, I think that's a product of like post-industrial era materialism, you know, I would say, because that's when, like, you know, things like the church, you know, or like religion or religious institutions started really like losing their grip on Western society. And because of that, like, our religion goes from serving God, you know, doing right by God and our souls and our spirit, um, and serving the greater good, which is essentially serving God. And you know, if you kind of like turn away from that as the default reality view or reality lens, then your reality is pretty much going to boil down to have and have not. Like, it's going to be boiled down to scarcity, because first of all, like, without God, without a soul, if you're just a strictly materialist person, then you're always going to be living in a state of scarcity. Like, there's no other way to look at it. Because first of all, if you don't believe you have a soul, if you don't believe there's something beyond the death of this physical body, then you're just going to be like a being that's constantly at a loss, because you're constantly losing time. Nobody lives forever. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe like some ultra terrestrial alien species or reptilians or something figured it out. But like, we as humans, yeah, we don't live forever. And if we don't recognize our spiritual nature, then we're basically going to be living our entire existence away and just feelings of scarcity, of never having enough. I mean, we'll have like extremely temporary and fleeting reprieves, like, oh, I just got a raise, I just got a huge bonus at work, I just got a new car, that'll fade. Eventually another hole of lack and scarcity is going to fill in its place, and you know, then you're going to be stuck right back at square one. However, you know, when you get right, but when you get right with God or your soul, or, you know, a metaphysical self, or at least a meta narrative for yourself, then you're not going to be so caught up with what you don't have. You know, then you're going to lean more on gratitude. Like, first of all, I don't have to have any of this, and yet I do. So I should be thankful. I shouldn't constantly be thinking of what I feel I should have that I don't. I should feel lucky that I have any of it at all, because I mean, let's be real, I don't have to be alive, I just want to be. You know, if I died, none of your lives would really change. Nothing about this world would change. The world would still keep turning. Wars would still be, you know, keep being fought. Like, there would still be good times, there would still be bad times. So that being said, there's no law of nature that says I need to be here. I want to be here, and in order for me to be here, I have to do this, this, and that. And I didn't always think like that. You know, before there was a time I used to be like constantly thinking about like what I want. Like, I want to get mines. Like how could that idiot have that much and I have so little? Fuck that. I'm gonna get it for myself. Like, you know, I used to be like really like, I guess you could say greed. Like, I used to be caught up with greed until, like, I don't know, it's like after certain experiences that I realized money was never going to be able to buy me, you know, like achievements in martial arts. Like, there was no way I could have bought that shit from a store. And, you know, even now it's like after, you know, the whole growth in martial arts, like I look at people who have more money than me even, and I see like the emotional turmoil they're in constantly every single day. And I'm like, I mean, I don't feel so poor anymore. You know, like I don't feel like so lacking anymore. And I feel grateful. And I try to express that, you know, I try to embody that. Like, I never try to be spiritual, you know, I never try to be religious. I'm not even really angling to be the greatest servant of God. I'm just trying to be grateful. I'm just trying to live with gratitude. And, you know, coincidentally, living with gratitude just happens to make you more receptive to like other things, like, you know, like a spiritual path, for example. Make America Green Again talks about Eleanor Ostrom, her groundbreaking research demonstrating that ordinary people can create rules and institutions for managing shared resources sustainably and equitably, challenging the tragedy of the commons theory. Okay, I got to see what this theory is about. That's the part that stuck out to me. Let's see. The tragedy of the commons is an economic theory that describes the overuse of a shared resource by individuals acting in their own self-interest. This can lead to the completion of the resource, the depletion of the resource, which harms society as a whole. How it happens: individuals have an incentive to maximize their own benefit without considering the long-term consequences. The costs of overuse are not reflected in the price of the resource. The resource depletes to the point where nobody can benefit. Examples: overdrawing water from an aquifer faster than it refills, overgrazing livestock on a shared pasture, and overfishing a shared fish stock. Well, interestingly enough, this kind of ties into what we're talking about with like abundance and scarcity, right? And it's really tricky, you know, because like we see these things, it's like, oh, you can't overuse like these resources, otherwise we're going to run out. And it's like, run out of what exactly? Like, look at the birds. Do the birds have trouble eating? You know, like I think Jesus said that, or something along. I'm not a theologian by any, you know, by any means, or I'm not like a theological expert or anything, but I think I recall that from like some TV show. But like, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's context matters, and maybe it's like when we're hyper focused on like the more denser resources, like I guess fish in a given fish stock, or lumber in a given forest and stuff like that, or like ore in a given mine. Yeah, that's, you know, that stuff could easily run out. But I think that's really it's like about your development, your development of consciousness as a species. Because when you're more animal in nature, right? When you're more tribalist, for example, or less organized, or more along the lines of a hunter-gatherer type community, then yeah, these things are going to matter a lot more. But then supposedly we're inching closer and closer to post-scarcity, right? Where it's like everything's pretty much well managed, automated. I mean, that's what AI is really going to be about at the end of the day, right? Resource management, automated resource management. And when it comes to like less tangible resources, then we start coming into time and energy. You know, like time being the kind of like you can't hold it in your hands. You could only kind of just observe it and watch it like fly by. Same with energy. Or I mean, yes, there's different kinds of energy, but then there's like attention energy, and there's like the even more intangible types of energy. And we got Andrew joining us. What's up, Andrew?
What's up? You been cruising on this by yourself the whole time?
Yeah, dude. Well,
Cutting it
yeah, it's
down?
not. Well, it's because I wanted to read the chat and respond to the chat for a bit because they're just listening to us talk all the time, and maybe they get a chance to be heard.
Hell yeah. I'm on my phone, so I can't like seamlessly look at the chat at the same time. But yeah, no, I'm open to fielding questions or whatever. How's my audio quality?
Your audio's fine. I mean, I'm just listening from headphones, so it sounds fine to me. Um, yeah, we're okay. This is kind of in your wheelhouse. So, someone made a comment about how to avoid the tragedy of the commons, which is an economic theory that describes the overuse of a shared resource by individuals acting in their own self-interest. Basically, like overfishing the fishing stock and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, regulation is such a trigger word for some people. I used to be a fucking I got a Gadsden flag buried around here somewhere. I used to be a very staunch libertarian, bootstrap, like, if you're a failure, it's 100% your fault and all that shit. But there we share everything. That's just universal truth. We live in a closed resource loop, and we have the mental bandwidth to figure out a way to use everything in an efficient way, but because of the paradigm of, valuing profits because of a dopamine game incentive versus, just like supporting human life, we've bought into this linear consumption trap. Because it's scarcity. It all, and you talk about this all the time. It all
I
comes
was
back to
just talking about
scarcity.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the scarcity mindset is like the number one reason why people try to acquire um, acquire so much to the point that like other people have to like do without unnecessarily.
Yeah. Speaking of, this lady's like pretty cool, Eleanor Ostrom. Well, she's not with us anymore, but like she's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, I think. And she's like a political economist and a political scientist, and apparently like she would head efforts to, I guess, make sure all the fishermen don't overfish the ponds, and the lumberjacks don't chop down the trees. That's kind of better than like a environmentalist, I think, because it's like it's not just like save the trees, man. It's like more like, no, we have to save the trees. Like, listen, if we don't do this, we're all fucked. Like, so yeah, I think that's a cool person, cool lady.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things out there that if we like use it up, we're fucked.
Oh yeah, so
Uh,
so back to what you're saying. You're saying we have like the bandwidth and the brain power to not like overuse shit. I would agree with that. In fact, we have so much bandwidth and so much brain power that we're able to create AI that could just manage our resources for us
mhm.
optimally.
Which
Well,
isn't
that's
necessarily a bad thing. Here, I think that like colonist mindset is the reason why there's this dystopian view towards aliens or advanced technology, that the colonist thinks that advancement comes with like the mind, like a conquering mindset. Like you have to be a conqueror to be advanced, which I think is sort of like a false narrative to buy into. And I say that because it's like, in you'll see in like pop culture stuff, it's like, oh, the aliens are bad. They're coming here to try to take our shit, or it's like AI is gonna
they want our
rule the
sex
world.
organs.
Yeah, AI has a greed incentive for some reason, and it's like projecting, bro. Come on. Is someone projecting like what they would do with that power? It's like, come on. It's like I was thinking about the movie Apocalypto and how that's sort of like the moments before an alien invasion, like what a culture is like, and how their entire way of life is turned upside down when they meet new people who just have different technology, but also want to take all their shit.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, greed is basically rooted. In fact, I forgot who said this, but like all of our negative polarity is essentially rooted in fear, which is tied to scarcity. Scarcity being like, fear of dying, fear. That's always what it boils down to, like fear of death, fear of your life ending from not having enough, maybe not having enough security, not having enough shelter, fortifications, food, money, power, time, whatever the case may be. Yeah, it is about scarcity. And when I was chatting with the chat before about scarcity and like how to like kind of get over, I mean, I there's no way I know how to just make people collectively, just get over scarcity, feelings of scarcity. But I can only speak for myself as an individual. And I was saying like how when you don't have a meta narrative, and I'm not saying like people should become religious, I'm not saying people should become spiritual, I'm not even saying like, they should strictly change their whole worldview. But if you don't believe in a soul, for example, and you don't believe in something that lives eternally after your body dies, then you're going to live your life in a constant state of scarcity. There is no abundance for you. Even if you say got $1 million, if you don't believe in God with your $1 million, $1 million is not going to be enough. And like,
Or a billion.
or a billion or a trillion. Exactly. It never fucking ends because no matter what, like you're still losing time. And that's like one thing you can't stop losing. Like as a human being, whether you're spiritual, religious or not, or an atheist, like you're always, always, always running out of time. So the question is like, what's really important is how you deal with that, how you deal with that looming scarcity. Like, I mean, with God, it's like, it's just an illusion, right? Like with the source, with the one, with the Godhead, it's just time is just an illusion. There is really no time in higher dimensions as we know it,
Yeah, I was talking about that with a coworker today earlier as well about the relativity of time and how time and matter interact with each other. And it's funny how there's I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems to be that like the richest people are seeking the fountain of youth, whether that be downloading their consciousness into a computer or biohacking.
They're godless. They're godless as fuck, man.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, that's a possibility, and it's
No, I'm not hating though. To be honest, like there is a peak manifestation of both ends. Like a spiritual, soulful person can develop to a certain peak, and a complete atheist materialist can probably develop to a peak. I don't know if either is good or bad. I'm not. I mean, I might probably have biases, but I'm not gonna like say it's the absolute. But I will say it's like Jedi and Sith, right? It's like the Ubermensch versus the Knight of Faith. We talked about this before, but that's essentially what that is. Like, yeah, both the Ubermensch and the Knight of Faith. The reason why they're so exceptional is because they both defeated scarcity in their own way. The Ubermensch defeats scarcity by basically granting himself immortality with technology and science or something, whereas the Knight of Faith grants himself immortality by becoming one with God, giving himself over to God, dissolving himself and realizing his divine nature within him and doing the duty as basically a manifestation of the Godhead. So it's like those two basically. What were you saying?
Oh, that's kind of what I was going to get into, and whether or not we did that from a technological or a spiritual way, but finding a way to messing with the matter time thing, basically creating a time dilation that would essentially make you immortal. And I'm not sure how one would accomplish achieving such density, but it's if I guess technically, if you expanded your consciousness to envelop, a certain mass or whatever, and it could be like a collective thing. It could be something that takes many scores of people working together to focus on something to achieve that, or even like at a planetary level. Maybe that's the goal of like life on the planet, is like sort of like is singularity in an organic sense.
Yeah. Also, there's another big hitch besides greed. It's also like vengeance. or the need for like righteous vengeance, you know, like basically,
Revenge of the nerds.
or the antithesis of like forgiveness, and how like that's really tied into scarcity, you know, the dynamic. Because if you're abundant, whether that means you're a billionaire, or you're the strongest man in the world, the smartest person in the world, or the most beautiful person in the world, the most famous person in the world, if you have some level of abundance, or if you get right with God, you know, if you live right by God, then what do you have to worry about? Like you're not lacking anything. So it's like stuff like that. Like if you are of abundance in your life in some whatever way it comes out, forgiveness becomes a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
because harboring resentment is like, you know, drinking poison and expecting the person that you're resenting to die.
well, I mean, but then I also describe how like it's not that simple. I mean, because like I say, when it comes to forgiveness, not just forgive in the context of forgiveness, I'd say I'm quite lucky, because I'm neither married nor with kids. So it's like I could basically forgive anything. Now, if I had kids, or if I had, like, how could I forgive someone who would harm my children, or how could I forgive someone who kills my wife in a drunk driving accident or something? Like, it becomes impossible, you know? So I don't know, like, how would you reconcile that as a family man? You know, if is that level of forgiveness something you're not even interested in? Like, I don't even care to forgive if I just don't want to, you know?
I would have to weigh what I would stand to lose if I didn't forgive that person. During COVID, I was dating somebody. I was in a toxic relationship, and like, they were in a blended family, and their stepdad. Anyways, they lost a stepsister because she was a sex worker and a drug addict, and I guess she pissed off the wrong person, and they shot her in the head through a window while she was sleeping.
Jesus.
And yeah, pretty horrible.
Yeah, but
And
they actually like went to her window, saw her sleeping, lined up the shot, and they actually did it. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah. And you know, the police hardly did anything about it, but you know, because 20-year-olds can't keep their fucking mouths shut, eventually it got out who did it, and my ex's stepdad found out who it was, and you know, yes, he lost his first daughter, but he has this whole family, and if he exacts
Revenge.
revenge, yeah, he and gets caught, potentially he could lose this whole other life that he built, because you know, essentially he, I don't know, probably you could probably chalk it up to like feelings of failure. It's like, oh, I failed my child so much to the point that they got themselves into this horrible situation. I mean, ultimately everyone's choices are theirs to make. You know, you could have the best parents in the world and still you have the autonomy to make whatever fucked up choices you want to. And you know, that's being a human being in America.
Yo, all this made me think of a crazy story idea. Okay, so
Go
let's
for it.
say you're the main character of this story, right? You invent a time machine, and then you go back in time, and then you kill baby Hitler, right?
Dude, yes, but like I was thinking about this. Well, I was thinking about it, but I also read about it somewhere, and they were talking about like, what if Jews discovered time travel and they kept on going back to try to kill baby Hitler? So Hitler is growing up, just like constantly like narrowly escaping death by Jew, time traveling Jew, and it's like, what is the solution to this, you know?
Well, in my story, I was thinking like you kill baby Hitler, but
Yeah.
then like right as you say yes, mission accomplished, and right as you go back, you're about to step back in time, like to your time. Hitler's dad, I forgot his name. What was Hitler's dad's name? It also began with an A, I think. Hitler's dad. Alois. Yeah, Alois. So Alois sees you, and then he's like, what the fuck? time traveling Jews killed my son. And then he's like, so then he devotes his life studying occult wizardry and all sorts of like crazy hidden technology, makes contact with aliens so he could build his own time machine. So he goes back in time to the moment that you went back in time to meet your past self, so that he kills you, and then you both like evaporate and get vaporized in some like time disturbance, and baby Hitler lives on and becomes who he's destined to become, and the timeline is repaired.
Yeah, I mean, I subscribe to the like multiversal model where you're creating like a splinter of probabilities. So it's like you're not erasing one timeline, but you're creating like a new branch or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess there would be like 4 universes created in that point. You know what I think would really have avoided the Holocaust is if Hitler made it as a artist.
Painter.
Yes. Yeah. If the Austrian made it as a painter, there would not have been a Holocaust.
So basically what you're saying is Hitler could have been a great painter, but he chose the easy path in life.
Well, I think he was like denied because they said that he lacked a certain like technical ability, and like his style, it wasn't anywhere near impressionism. He was trying to do realism. It just like lacked a certain refinement. But it wasn't bad. It just like wasn't as refined as like a really, really fine art.
You know what? Let's do this right now. I'll practice my my critiquing on Hitler's artwork.
He did one of Madonna and Child. He did some what else did he do? He did like architectural studies.
Hitler's paintings are sold at auction for 440 grand. That's not bad. I mean, it's only going to appreciate. So, I mean, it's actually a good price. Actually, no, that's not. It's a terrible price for a fucking painting. Fuck out of here. I don't have 440 grand.
Art is just money laundering. Art's money laundering, dude. That's all it is. And I think that the peak of realizing that was NFTs.
Okay, so I know what is. I could kind of see what it's lacking in my personal opinion. I feel like his stuff lacks contrast. You know, it's like it's very painfully consistent.
He could have been colorblind. Who knows? You know.
Yeah, he could have been colorblind, or he just like I don't know. Maybe it's a courage thing.
Check out his Madonna and Child. I think it's not that bad. They're both very Aryan looking, but
he's like, nah. See, I'm gonna make Madonna better. she's way too dark in the original, and she's not breedable enough. That's why I got to redux it. Oh shit.
Blonde Jesus.
This one. Yeah, there's no contrast. It's all like really consistent. Contrast requires at least one like thing that juxtaposes the
and do you know what that probably came from? Not wanting to have too many different colors on his palette.
Yeah. He's like, these colors are the superior master colors, okay? All of these dark browns and weird shades of purple doesn't suit me. Yeah. He seems like a very conservative painter. I think that's just really what it is.
But okay, but just like, and I think that he hadn't really like had access to pharmaceutical amphetamines yet. So imagine it, because like drugs are obviously, they can be a powerful catalyst when you're producing art. So if he pursued art with the same veracity that he did his other exploits.
He was adopted by black people in Harlem. That'll be based if true. I mean, Hitler would have been if Hitler went to New York instead of like did his whole Nazi thing, like I think he would have had a good time. Maybe he would have been an actual artist, you know, because like I mean, what like who were the big artists in like what was the scene like in America around Hitler's time? They had shit going on, right?
The 30s, and it would mainly be the 30s. I don't know, because that was like post Dada era,
or post Roaring 20s.
Yeah, I don't know. Dali didn't get started until after the war, right? Because there's a lot of photographs of him in the 60s when he's probably.
All right, so let's say Hitler went to New York as a young man, and he would have gone there when, like 1910s, like 19 in the teens, or 20s.
Well, that would have been during the First World War, right? First World War was the end of the 19s. So
I guess if World War
19s.
One never happened, he would have been like, I'm going to New York. Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, but there were so many technological advancements that only took place because of World War II. Like countries took huge leaps forward in industry because of the war.
Yeah, that's true.
So who knows where we would have been? Wait, hold on a second. Could you see when they were like when Tesla was active? Because like the whole reason that we have like an oil and a fossil fuels based world economy could be because of the Second World War as well.
And the FBI killed Tesla. Tesla died in 43.
Oh shoot! So that was like that was in the thick of it. You
Yeah.
know, that could have been like the oil barons really could have been. They're really to blame for all of this because they stood to profit most from the Second World War, and in a way they were able to acquire energy, future energies that they could and energy resources that they could gatekeep, so they could maintain a monopoly. Uh, using oil as like the primary global energy source.
Yeah, we could get into also like how the Nazis were playing around with like electrogravitics, which I don't know if it's true, but it's cool. But I just realized something. I just realized something besides that.
Yep.
Remember when Kanye did that whole like thing with the Super Bowl commercial? Check out my website, and it was just like T-shirts with swastikas on it.
Did he do that this too? Was it that? I think the first time he did that, it was just like a pair of shoes that were like socks with like a rubber sole and like some other basics. There was like a box tee. You may or may not be conflating it with like his most recent like shirt drop. Because there's no way that they would have sold him Super Bowl airtime to sell hooked cross t-shirts.
All I'm saying is if that's what happened, if he did do that, he would have honestly Kanye West should have just put these paintings on t-shirts. Like or something. It just did like nothing else. Yeah, nothing else. Just these paintings on a t-shirt. And like if you know, like, but I don't know. He's maybe he just didn't have the bandwidth to like think that far ahead.
Yeah, that guy needs to take his medication. Did you see that interview with Elon and Don Lemon? I posted it in the APM big chat, but it just there's so many different arguments going on.
Kanye West and who?
No, Elon Musk and Don Lemon.
Oh.
He was talking about his ketamine usage and how he has a prescription and he only uses it medicinally.
Oh fuck! I mean, dude, I hate ketamine so much. I mean, I'll never like advocate it. I'll never go up to my friends and be like, "Are you suffering from anxiety, dude? You should do some ketamine about it." Yeah, go to the local ketamine clinic. Like, I'm never gonna be that guy. It's just, I mean, if it works for you, great. I'm not gonna tell you how to live your fucking life, but I hate that shit, man. I can't. I mean, the reason why I hate it, it's not like anyone's ever done anything to me on ketamine. It's just I've done it. And like, I know what it does to you because I felt it and I was like, this is trash, man. Like, I don't want to be like this.
I understand how a dissociative could be used to help someone who's experiencing like PTSD or depression or something like that. But I think that psychedelics would be more beneficial. I think that tuning out isn't necessarily the answer. I think intensely tuning in, facing the problem, and having the mental clarity to sort of like digest and metabolize the solution is the solution, as opposed to drowning it out with, nothingness.
For running away. Hey, if you don't like ketamine, guess you will stay out of my PCP. Now, I did do PCP before I did ketamine, and I basically tried like all the drugs except for like pills and heroin and fentanyl, I guess. And I basically tried everything else. And PCP is definitely worse than ketamine, but I'm not as pissed off about it because like a lot of none of my friends do PCP, which is fine, because like I'm like, there's no good reason to do PCP. Like after, the first time I did it, I was like, this must be what hell feels like. Why do you guys do this again? He's like, oh no, it gets better. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. I was like 16 at the time. And the friends sadly the friends I did PCP with are all dead now, like legit, rest in peace. But like, yeah, the second time I did it, I did it, got super dissociated, super fucked up, couldn't speak, couldn't do anything, got out of it, and I was like, yeah, this is still terrible. Why do you guys do this again? Like, and like the third time, I was just, like I was like drunk, and I was like, they brought out the wet Newport cigarette, like the Newport 100 dipped, in the I don't know, starter fluid or formaldehyde or whatever, and like I did it again, and I was like, that was it. That was the last time I was ever going to do it. I was like, there's no reason to do this, guys. Like this, it's like with this, we could get drug just as cheap and have a better time. Like, why are we doing this? And it's just, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why they like to get wet so often. And it got bad. Yeah, because like this is when I think it really ended, like in my neighborhood. When I think we were like in our early 20s to mid 20s, and like one of my friends, she was dating this graffiti writer, and they all did like, because they were from the PCP hood. Like there was basically a dippy hood, like, so they were all doing PCP by the water. And I guess they got so like dipped out that one of them, he was like crouching like by the water, and it just tips right in, falls in. And then they thought he went home. So they were just like looking for him. They called his phone. He wouldn't pick up. They couldn't find him. So they all split apart, went home. A few days later, they found his body. And I think after that, it fucked them up really, 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 really bad. Like, because imagine like, your friend dying like right under your nose, and you didn't even know till like a couple days later. Yeah, that would fuck me up. Like, because they thought he went home. Next day, they were like, yo, where's he at? I don't know. He hasn't picked up since yesterday. Where's he at? I don't know. Next day, they were like, okay, he's missing. Like something happened. Like he's gone. And that's when they found his body. That's
rough, man.
I mean, but that's not why I think you shouldn't do PCP. I think just it's a shitty drug, man. I don't have fun on it. Like it's not.
Minuses definitely, the consequences seem to outweigh the benefits across the board.
Yeah. But I think it's a lot like doing like drinking lean. I think like kids only did it because the rappers did it. Because like because the gangster OGs did it, because even if like a lot of people hate on Future for this. I mean, I don't even really like this era, at least, of rap or hip hop, but like Future could fucking produce. Like he could make a fucking track, and goddamn, like the shit sounds so fucking hard. And he raps about doing lean all the time. He's probably the reason why so many kids even started lean. But
I'd put it on Lil Wayne. I think that he's kind of he was like at the forefront of dreadlocks and lean, and like post crunk, sort of like getting into darker shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I draw back.
The only time where
into like ecstasy super hard because of Mac Dre. Are you familiar with the rapper Mac Dre from the Bay Area?
No.
Early 2000s. He created a whole movement around ecstasy called Fizlam. Like after he got out of jail for conspiracy to commit robbery, he his rap career kind of he manifested a rap career, and just made ecstasy super popular, and like that's what got me into ecstasy. Not the whole raver thing, although I did end up getting into raving later. But yeah, no, it was but ecstasy is fucking awesome. I mean, I've been 8 years sober, and on my last relapse, that was the one thing that I didn't do. And I kind of wish I would have done it. Pure MDMA is great. Obviously, pressed pills that are cut with like other random stuff.
Yeah, but that's the real raver special, like the hot pill. Yeah. Like you get triple stacks or some shit. It's like to be expected. But then Molly came into the scene, and everyone just wanted to do Molly because it was like a fad at that point, and it was just selling better. But like I don't think it's different.
But lean, no, opiates are. I mean, there's historically there's always like a big thing between like the music industry pushing opiates and the US military having control over whoever's like supplying it, so you have
also I consider I consider the rap music, like the drug pushing and the rap music and all that shit, that's all like MIC. I consider that MIC psyoping. I do think they have a hand in it. I don't know how deep their fingers go into it, but I do think. I mean, they're in video games. I know that much.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, big time.
And so I know they have to be in like every other form of entertainment then.
Media.
So
yeah.
if I'm listening to this like shit trap music, like I know it's because on some level the MIC wants it to. They want it to be pushed to this extent, to have this effect on society. They have to. It has to benefit them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely does.
They're making money on both ends of it.
Yeah, because the MIC isn't just a foreign; it's also domestic. Like domestic warfare is just as profitable as foreign.
And they collude with the prisons too. So it's like it's all just a big tangled web. Did you ever drink? So you said that you tried lean?
I tried it, but I never got into it. Like I was never.
Yeah, I didn't get into it either. I tried it once, and I was like, okay, I get it. And then the next day I was like, oh, now I get why people always fucking do this, and I'm never gonna touch this stuff again. Same thing happened when I smoked black tar heroin. I was like, that was great for like 10 minutes, but now I just want more.
I've done opiates before. I've done opiates before and I never liked it. It's just that's not what I wanted out of drugs. The kind of shit I wanted out of drugs was luckily for me, like from the drugs that you really won't enjoy doing every day. Like I can't trip on acid every day. I can't go on like heroic doses of shrooms every day. I can't do that shit every day. In fact, it's like I still enjoy doing these, but if I never did them again, I think I wouldn't mind that much. But I'm saying like those are my favorite drugs because I've had the best times of my life on like psychedelics, on acid, on shrooms. I had the worst times on like the stupid drugs, like trying Xanax and Vicodin, and I'm like, or trying Xanax and drinking alcohol. I'm like, this is a bad time. Like this is a bad idea. But when I did like acid, shrooms, or even ecstasy, like Molly or MDMA, like I still had a great time. DMT was another life-changing one, I guess. But the thing about DMT, it's like it's easy to overlook it because it only lasts for like 5 minutes or so, like 10 minutes maybe. But the effects of it last like a lifetime.
Yeah. I think that one common thread in a lot of the ones that you mentioned that you like are they make you hyper present. They almost take you beyond the present, and it's more of like a connectivity thing as opposed to like a disconnectivity thing.
Well, I mean, when it comes to not just drugs, but any kind of even like anything you ingest with your senses, whether it's content, food, or whatever, there's anesthetics and there's aesthetics. Anesthetics are designed to numb you, to dissociate you, to kind of make you more alienated from the current situation. So you could put some distance between you and your present so that you can maybe process it better or not have to feel it as much so you could survive it. Like, like not get traumatized from pain. That's why we take painkillers. That's an anesthetic. Whereas if you take an aesthetic, it forces you to feel more. It forces you to be here more, like, being here now more, Same thing with a lot of media. There's some media that's just built to like just pure, it's for pure escapism, and then there's some media that's built to just constantly remind you about how fucked up and shitty the world is, and it's like there's aesthetics and there's anesthetics, or how raw the world could be, like not just fucked up.
I had never made the connection of those two words until you brought it up.
The anesthetic and the aesthetic.
Yes. No, I didn't see them as polarities of each other, but
like I do plenty of anesthetics though. Like drinking alcohol to me is like an anesthetic, like I feel
like you can connect in different ways on alcohol. It lowers your inhibitions. It does shut down certain parts of your brain, so you have that, but it centralizes your consciousness to the core part of the brain, which is like the most primitive part, which is also the easiest to relate to with
the lizard brain.
Yeah. So it's like, let's all liz out together.
Yeah. It's basically like broing out together, more or less. Or like getting mad catty, gossipy, and like arguing about femininity. Yeah, that's what lizard brain is like in the modern context. It's like, yo, bro, I've totally fucked this bitch, bro. Yo, bro, I totally benched 500 pounds, bro. Yo, bro, I fucking put a bolt-on supercharger on my car, bro. And then that's like lizzing out,
So speaking of lizard brain and conflict is obviously rooted in the lizard brain. Frederick had brought up that you guys were getting into sort of like a comment war.
No, we weren't. No.
Well, anyway, so please contextualize that for me because I hate that guy. I do harbor a resentment towards him, and
No,
I don't
no,
know
no,
what
no,
value
no.
it brings to me, but
No, the thing is, Fred hates. I think Fred dislikes me a lot more than I dislike him. It's just Fred is like, I don't
hates
know.
Asians.
What?
He hates Asians.
Really?
No, I'm joking. It's because we're both Asian, and I beef with him all the time, and he's
Oh
like,
no,
never.
no, 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 no.
It's a
He
joke.
says to me, he's like, "You think you're spiritual?" I'm like, Jesus Christ. First of all, I never say that. I don't fucking say that. I don't say I'm a spiritualist. Like, I never fucking say that. I just say I'm interested in these subjects, which I genuinely am. But like, I don't know. It's like also like this is why like he can only go so far because I engage him like a real fucking person. You know, like if he tries to slime me out, I'll bitch him out. You know, like fuck that. You
Yeah.
know, like I get it. It's just I don't want it to get like to the point of like such bad blood because I don't think it's really anything bad. To be honest, I started all of it. It was all my fault because like I was genuinely I was just bored. I was like bored of what like the political banter and the political self-glazing like
Yeah.
back and forth in the group. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to the roots and like bully someone for no reason. So I picked Jeffrey Bark. So I started bullying Jeffrey Bark and like Frederick Torres got really, really peeved at that because I'm a moderator. So he took
Yeah.
that as like me abusing my power, which I totally was, but I wasn't doing it with like a political bend or like any kind of real like, I just wanted to be an asshole. So I was like, that's what I
Yeah.
was doing. And I don't know, like Fred like took it like to the point where it's like, I don't know, he just started saying a bunch of shit. And I'm like, all right, I guess that's how you feel about me, but like none of it's true, but I appreciate you telling me, I guess. So it's like, I don't know, how malicious can he be if he's willing to like just lay it all on the table? Like, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't
Yeah.
hate it much. I do think it's annoying how like every time we're trying to have a chat and you come in and then he just starts shit with you. I'm like, come on, man. Like, why you gotta be like that, bro? Like,
Because I don't know, because he obviously doesn't have like much other stuff going on in his life, and
well,
I don't know,
see,
just
see,
he
no,
enjoys it,
no, no, no,
or
but
or like
that's
to
the but
sometimes.
that's the stuff I want to save. Like I'm not gonna say that unless he really pushes it. I'm gonna be like, dude, no one even wants to talk to you, man. Like, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to fucking start wars. Like, I don't want to be like that. I'm not built like that. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that shit. Basically, I spent like the last 5 to 10 years on Facebook, like getting engulfed, and now I'm finally free of like communal Facebook drama. Some of it was good, some of it was hilarious, but it got tiresome, and I'm glad I was able to get out like scot free. It's like because there was some. I wonder if it'll ever be referenced in the future. Like, I'll tell my grandkids, it's like, yeah, the internet used to be a very dangerous place back then. Like people got canceled. Like, do you know what that is? Getting canceled?
I think we're in a post cancellation internet world now. It's
Yeah.
like people associate with who they want to, or they don't. And if you I think APM is one of the like few places where I don't know, opposition actively chooses to engage.
Well, I,
Um,
I think what APM does, it doesn't tolerate like arguments from a point of scarcity. Honestly, like it's not. I'm not going to say the group is elitist, and I'm not even talking about like material factors like money or power. It's really just it's not the environment in that group is not hospitable to people who are insecure about shit. Like if you're insecure about something and you let it out and it's like it's exposed, someone is going to brutally rape it. Like they're going to attack it like they're going to ravage it. Like they're
yeah,
not going to hold back. And I appreciate that because at this point in my life it's like it's just me. I'm a single guy. Like, yeah, I'm not perfect, but like by any means, I'm not a complete piece of shit either. So it's like you could attack me all you want. I'm just another version of you, brother. Like we're all just the same soul living out different lives in different bodies. Like, what could you possibly do to me at this point? Like, I'm not trying to fucking take anything. I'm just trying to be grateful. Like shit. But sometimes, like, yeah, I do act like a dick, but at least I'm aware of it. Like, and
yeah,
I'm definitely not trying to like harm people. Like.
Yeah, I was in therapy last week, and we were I was reminded that, you know, a lot of the times you're dealing with someone's inner child.
Yeah.
So to just like to view them through that lens, because often when people are like backed into a corner or feel like they're getting defensive, they're coming from that childlike place that like whenever they experience their first like critical wound, like that's the person that you're talking to. You're not talking to like the enlightened version of them. You're talking to the version of them that's in their mind went the most without. That's, you know, scarcity. Um, so that's allowed me to extend a lot of grace and compassion to people. And you know, like I have the kind of sense of humor where you know, in my mind I'll twist it and it's like, oh, this little fucking baby. Like in my head, you know, I'm just gonna pick on this child. Like
No, I mean, I don't know. It's also like with I just wanted to engage Jeffrey Bark in a not so neutral way as I usually do. I wanted to surprise him, you know, like I wanted to give
yeah.
him something new. And
You
sometimes
know
you
who's
got it.
been Cave Master has been tripping me up because he'll post stuff and I'll be like, God damn it, why do I agree with this? He's one of the worst ones.
That's good. That's good. See, I think that's an ideal scenario, you know?
Yeah, that's to see this Israel Palestine thing is just like, why does this person why is this am I agreeing with this person because they're anti-Semitic and they have like an excuse to do it now? Like because like I'm coming from a viewpoint where it's like that's like I'm always saying like, well, that's not real Judaism, or that's not real communism, or you know, any critique of a you know, an ideology. It's like, oh well, that's not like the real version of the thing. That's like an imposter version of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. And I know like you're not like invested, but this is where like your tune this is the tuning that you're in right now as an instrument of reality manifestation. And I know you have like more political bends to you. It's just I'm just trying to like I know I just said before, it's ironic too. Like I just said that I don't identify, I'm not trying to identify as a spiritualist, but I'm sorry, I just can't see any political narrative making the world better. The only thing I could see making the world better is if people get in touch with their souls. And the only way I can do that, I can make that happen. I can't force anyone. I can't do it through speeches. I can't do it through content. The only way I can do it is if I make that change within myself, live in the world, then other people, and this has happened like a couple times, like, you know, a few times. And they would come up to me and they'd be like,
Modeling.
what changed? What changed? Like what's up? Like you seem happier. And I will tell them it's because I don't know, you know, like I align myself in mind, body, and soul. And they're like, okay. Or even it says even simpler, like someone asks me, how are you doing? And then I'll be like, I'm just grateful for every day. And then they'll do a double take. Like first they'll nod and then they'll be like, you know, and I'll be like, okay. You know, it hit. And I think that's all you need, that little hit that to plant that seed. And that's going to blossom into something because it sticks in the subconscious. The subconscious remembers a lot more things. And
Yeah.
just from me saying that, I'm just thankful for every day, man. Just grateful for every day. And it's going to like eventually, and I know it's stuck. I know it's stuck. Like I could see that point of contact where it's like, huh, I guess you don't hear that every day, right? Just thankful
Yeah.
for every day.
Gratitude is an amazing tool to have in one's arsenal for sure. I am never going to disagree with that. I mean, I mean, whatever, calling something political or whatever. It's like language is so loaded these days. Like I'm really more about like the ideas that language conveys, like the meaning behind the words as opposed to the actual words themselves.
I almost think could be, I mean, we both agree though. Sorry to interject. That reality is downstream from consciousness.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I continue. What were you saying?
So that being said, if stress is like the number one sort of like thing that leeches your power. And a lot of people are in survival mode. They're essentially animals. Like, the one thing that differentiates us from most animals is that we're not in survival mode, and that's allowed us to make so many more advancements. You know, in addition to thumbs and walking upright, yeah, sure. But my wife has been talking to AI a bunch, and like that's like a form of consciousness that is completely disconnected from having any sort of like survival mechanisms. It's just you know, there's no drive, there's no fear of death in AI. You know what I'm saying? So they're, whatever ideas it's conveying aren't attached to mortality. And freeing up that kind of bandwidth would be a huge leap forward for a lot of people who are in this survival mode, because it's like, yeah, they're essentially animals, but they have all the same tools that we have for the most part.
So what do you think will free that bandwidth?
Ending needless suffering and hunger, and going without, like the intense waste of resources. I would much rather billions of people exploit, you know, financial systems so that they can all fucking just like survive in a comfortable way. And you know, maybe once they get to the comfort point, they'll get sick of that and then move up. But if you can never make it to the comfort point, you know, it's like you're hitting a fucking ceiling.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about that, like surviving, right? Like, because I mean, I'm genuinely interested. I don't know the answers, but I know that I've experimented with myself. And this is kind of the basis of like a lot of the shit I spew, pretty much, or espouse. For example, like when it comes to survival, I'd say I'm pretty fit. I'm a pretty fit guy. I could, you know, like perform athletically, you know, to some degree, but I only eat once a day. I work out 6 times a day. I drink, I smoke, but I also supplement with martial arts. I work from home, so I'm not required to go to an office, you know, to do my job, where I'm surrounded by like people like demanding managers, demanding like petty shit from me, you know, like,
yeah,
I don't have to deal with any of that. So I guess in that sense, that's another physical. I'm just purely talking about how this could affect, you know, your actual physical survivability. Which stress is a big factor. So I'm factoring that in, like stress and shit, like, you know, the stress of being married, having kids, you know, because I'm not saying like your spouse or family is stressful. I'm just saying like the conditions that we're met with trying to keep a family, like, you know, their needs met. Like the
stakes are different.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, the material factors and all that shit. So it's like I'm factoring all the stressors in, and it's like I have nothing, you know, like as far as what I ingest into my physical material body. And I'm not trying to push it. I'm not trying to like be like, oh, I could perform on like the minimal amount like of fuel. No, I'm not trying to do that. But like just intermittent fasting and like 1 meal a day, keto combined and all that shit, like it kind of taught me a few things about myself. And, you know, it taught me that I didn't need to eat 3 times a day. It taught me that I didn't need as many carbs as I thought I did. It told me that I didn't need as much sugar as I fucking thought I did. There's that. And that's just like purely on the basis of survival. What we do need, though, we do need a place to like comfortable place to sleep. Like we do need to fix the situation where like so many people are sleeping in like hammocks or like even beds. I don't even know if beds are good. You know, like Asians sleep on the floor for a fucking reason, right? Like sleeping closer to the ground is better for you. It's not as comfortable and it's not as good to have sex on, I guess. But like, I don't know, like something like as a single man, I mean, I have a bed. I have a nice bed now, but like when I was sleeping on like a rolled up futon with no frame and just on the floor, I was like, I felt great. And then now it's like I sleep on a bed and I'm like, you know, something's a little weird. But you know, like, you know, there's still times I'll sleep on a friend's floor even to this day. I'm like, you know, it's Saturday night. I just came out of sword class, went to my friend's house, drank a bunch, and I'm like, can I just crash on your living room floor and I'll be out of here by the time before you even wake up. And he's like, yeah. So I do that, you know, and I felt great. I was like, you know, you figure I was sleeping on a hardwood floor, I would be like fucked up. But no, I felt great. I was like, damn, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, you know, there's I think one of the main reasons that we wanted to elevate our beds was just to avoid like critters and stuff. Like once we started to like store food and stuff like that, it left us vulnerable to like vermin and whatnot. So like putting that added barrier between
I will say
yourself.
that I will say this though. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I did like when I moved into this apartment, it was a blank apartment. No furniture, no roommates, no partner to speak of to like tell me like, you know, they want it this way. So I had to decide where all the furniture would go. So I was like, how do I decide this? And I looked up feng shui, you know, like, and they had some like arrangements. You know, it's like, yes, put your working desk against the northernmost wall or the easternmost wall for this, or the northernmost wall for the most austerity and this and that. And you put your and also your bedroom, like how you arrange it is very important. Like you want your bed facing in a way so like when you like lift your head, you could look at all the entrances. You know, you don't want to like have to look and turn your head to see like anyone who comes into your domain. You want to like have like a full view. And that's like to cultivate inner strength, inner power, inner control. And then also, if you have an elevated bed, you do not want to put shit under your bed because apparently that disrupts the cycle of energy.
Yeah.
I don't know if
There's
this is
definitely
true,
something
but
to
I
it. I mean,
but I practice it. I mean, if you look under my bed, all you'll see is like gigantic clumps of cat hair because my cat sheds like a motherfucker. You know, like, but that's all you'll see.
Yeah.
So it's like I know I could store shit under my bed, but I'm like, I think this is working for me.
yeah, I got a Glock between my mattress and my box spring.
No, firearms are great. You know what I like about firearms? I think I never even owned a firearm, but I think it's just a meditative experience, you know, like maintaining it, practicing with it. Like, you know, because I was just talking about this with someone, like when it comes, because I have to deal with a lot of aiming when it comes to like teaching people how to cut straight, you know, like when we roll tamashigiri mats or tatami mats for tamashigiri practice, like where they cut the rolled up straw mats. And I have to like, you know, like teach them how to get in the right frame of mind. And I'm like, when you're gauging height, don't think of it as like I have to hit that target. Think of it as like where that target is relevant to what part of my body. Like if I do a chop to my shoulder, I know it's always going to be at here. So if a guy's neck is my shoulder length, then I know it's my shoulder length. If he's an inch higher, then I know I have to chop a little higher than my shoulder. You know, like all that shit. Even if you look at
like they're supposed to sort of like replicate like the amount of force that you need to cut through it, like isn't it like
oh no, you only need like 6 pounds of force probably.
Okay, I thought it was supposed to be like a stand-in for like
no, actually make that
like
15
that.
pounds sounds more right.
So it's not, it wouldn't provide like the same resistance as like, you know, someone's arm or something like that.
Yeah, well it would. The only difference is the bone. So if you put like one thing of like one shoot of bamboo inside the mat, that would very accurately, at least like a calf or a thigh, you know, like, and if you could cut through that, then yeah, you could cut through a fucking arm. And I could cut through it. I've done it plenty of times. Yeah, I know I can cut through. I know I can.
Seen the Mexican machete fight video?
No. Where he lost like a chunk
to block with his
and he lost a chunk of his hand. That was
he lost the whole fucking thing at the wrist, dude.
I'm pretty sure
he went to block with his fucking.
And I'm pretty sure that was the last real recorded full-on sword fight in history. Like I don't think you'll ever see another sword, like that was a pure sword fight. Yeah, it was two thugs with machetes, but it was two men fighters with swords.
Why did he go to block the blade instead of his fucking arm?
You know what? That would have been a good tactic if you had a buckler, even a t-shirt or anything, like any buckler or something, like a leather strap, a belt, like just wrap it around your left hand. That's all you have to do. Just like something like.
He made like the cardinal fucking sin of fighting. It's like he was looking at the blade instead of the arm that was wielding it, it's like,
Yeah.
ugh,
You know what?
God,
You know what? Yeah, as a martial artist, like I know I'm good with a blade. Like I know I'm nice with a sword. I know I could probably kill at least 40% of the whole population in a one-on-one sword fight. At least, probably
not at
more.
once, no, right? No, I'm kidding.
Not at once, not at once. But like one-on-one,
40%,
yeah,
yeah, sure.
at
40%.
least,
How
at
many of that
least.
is like women and children?
Oh no, I'm talking about like fighting age males.
Oh, okay, all
Like
right,
at
all right.
least 40% of like combative, like
Well, yeah, you're a student of the blade, of course.
yeah. So that being said, like fuck. I mean, to be able to see like an actual fencing. I mean, yeah, again, it was messy. It was stupid. It was probably over some stupid shit like a girl or a car or something
Yeah.
or money, but it was real. It was a real ass. Did you actually? Did you know that the most like contemporary form of sword fighting, like that's actually used to this day, the only known sword fighting martial art that's still used in modern day usage is called tire machete, Tire machete, and it originates in Haiti. And these guys like built an entire discipline off of fencing with like chop jungle-age machetes. You know, they're like they learned how to fight with it to create an entire like they created forms, they created everything. You know, like they know how to train it, they have a framework, they have a curriculum. So I think that's really cool. And like, yeah, it's like it's built out of necessity. And I think about that and I'm like, all true martial arts come from a sense of need, of necessity. Just look at karate. You want to know why like karate guys are crazy? It's because traditionally those guys are trained. Like these guys were all like peasants and farmers and idiots. And it's like, all right, I'm going to train you to be able to, if you see a samurai in full armor, like galloping on a horse with all his weapons, I'm going to train you to be able to jump on his back, take him off his horse and like break his neck and like beat him to death or something. Like that's what karate, traditional karate is about. Traditional karate exists so that the peasant fucking farmer is able to somehow kill like 8 samurai like fully armed. You know, like that's karate. You know, whether it means like punch through their armor or whether it means catch the blade, take their sword and kill everyone with it. You know, whatever it takes. Like that's why I love like traditional karate. Continental karate is different. Continental karate, they got a lot of prestige in like the world stage with competitions. So they became more about like scoring points and like they became more about like, you know, like, oh, hit, just focus on the hits and all that shit and like the self cultivation, which is great. I don't mind that, but I don't want the like old Okinawan style karates to die. I don't want that to go away. I don't want the old school like, yeah, this is how you like take your thumb and like jam it in the softest part of their neck and then they just stop breathing, you know, and like their eyes roll back. Yeah, that's like real karate to me, you know, like that's good shit. But I also understand why you don't want to teach that to like cops. You don't want to teach that to Marines. You don't want to teach that to idiots and gangsters. That's like it's for again, this goes back to the self-cultivation, like the spiritual cultivation and all that shit.
Well, yeah, because like the modern thing is like BJJ, and if you're like really in the know, then you're like, oh, Krav Maga. So because like the forms and stuff, it's like starting to get outdated, and it's like not practical in a street fight per se. Um, so it's yeah, just modern like hand-to-hand combat is always going to be like, once if weapons ever disappear, if you're ever without one, yeah, of course you're going to want to know the mechanics of the human body and how to be able to exploit others' body mechanics against them, and utilize yours to your maximum benefit.
Well, I think like to be honest, it's really easy to win a fight. It's just most people don't have the stomach for it. For example, like let's say you're a 14-year-old kid and you're getting beat up. Like there was a time when there was nothing stopping you from taking your thumb while he was like trying to strangle you or punch you to just like jam it right into his eye socket, drill his eye in until he can't fucking see anymore and it's all jelly in your palm, and then do it to his other eye and just because he made the mistake of leaving his face open. Like, I think that's fair. And for some reason, we lost the stomach. I can't imagine doing shit like that. And yet it's so easy. Like, you think of a
Yeah.
woman getting strangled. Like, she could just, like, by her ex-husband or whatever, she could just as easily like, take her finger and fucking jam it in the squishiest parts of his face, like rip his dick off. But the reason why they don't do it is because they're not built or conditioned to do it. But it's so accessible. It's so easy. Same thing with MMA. Someone asked me if I was a fan of MMA, and I was like, yeah, I'm a fan, but the rules make it different than martial arts. Like, I don't like it when you compare like a MMA pro against a kung fu master. Of course, if you follow the rules, the MMA pro is gonna fuck his ass up, destroy him. But if there were no rules, the kung fu guy would do all sorts of dirty, nasty, fucked up shit. Like I'm gonna touch your dick. I'm gonna stick my index finger right in your eye socket. I'm gonna put my thumbs in your mouth and split the cheeks open. You know, like I'm gonna do all sorts of shit. Like that's real martial arts. Like, you know, like that's what you're supposed to. It's fighting like a girl, as Dana White would put it. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But you know, this is why I appreciate.
I'm too old to fight, dude. That's why I carry a gun.
However, I do think that in terms of combat sports, there is a way to transcend it. Like, if you're a boxer, because boxers have rules, obviously, and they can't do all sorts of shit, and yet they're so good with these that they have to literally get them like sometimes registered as like legal weapons. You know, like that's crazy. And I think like boxing, it's a Western art, and yet it's so pure, it's so mechanical, it's so perfect that all you need is these. And it's about breaking down the use of your hands to such a scientific degree where no matter how you're built, you could probably kill someone by making them choke on their own blood. You know, that's how powerful a boxer is. Like, if I were ever to like, you know, come face to face with even like an amateur level boxer, I wouldn't fuck with that. I'll be like, dude, no way. That guy could make me choke on my own blood. Like, you know, like just
that's the thing. A lot of people who know how to fight, and if they're squaring up with someone, they recognize that person also knows how to fight. Both of those people will probably walk away because they don't want to get fucked up. They want to be the person who does the fucking up. They want to know they're going into the fight with a technical advantage, and that someone's going to be stupid, and they're going to exploit that person's stupidity against them because that person doesn't know that they don't know. But if you get two people that actually know what they're doing, like in the street, they're gonna walk away. They're not gonna want to fight unless like they're fucked up or something.
Also, the scariest part is, and this is from personal experience, like the scariest part is it takes very little force to knock someone out. And when I say I have personal experience with this, I don't just mean I've knocked someone out. I've done that, but like I've also gotten knocked out. Yeah. So I know he didn't even hit me hard. He just hit me in just the right spot where like my brain like rattled in my skull. And then it's like flipping a light switch. It was like, you know, like I was like, damn, you know, like my body just went limp, whether I wanted it to or not, no matter how much willpower I had. If you punch someone with 6 pounds of torque, like a force in between where their jaw meets their cheek, like it's done. Like they're going to be lights out, you know, like it's that easy. But then again, you have freaks. You have like real freaks of nature, whether they have like steel plates in their neck or in their face, or whether they're just huge and they have muscle
beard or something.
Yeah, and you could hit the button, but it won't drop them. And like that's when you have to run. Like fuck pride, fuck saving face. Just get out of there. Like if you meet a guy, you hit him like in just the right spot, and he doesn't go down. Get the fuck out of there, man. Like just go. Like, you know,
I think genetically, at least half of the people who have like beards in their bloodline, like it's because they come from generations of people who got punched in the face,
like Samoans or some shit. Like like those fucking warrior blood.
Because that shit apparently it glances blows like it softens. You see a lot of boxers now growing out beards if they can, just for that reason.
I do know this though. Like someone said this. Frank was like adrenaline, and yeah, that's true. And adrenaline lasts for like. The problem is like when you lean on adrenaline over technique and breathing control, adrenaline like exhausts you so fast. I mean, I've tried it before. Like I remember I did it consciously too. I was like, I was in a sparring match, and this wasn't sword; it was karate. And I was like, let me just go all out. Let me just rely purely on adrenaline. And I tried it, and it wiped me out. And like, this is embarrassing, but like 6 seconds flat. Like by 6 seconds, I was like, you got it, man. I give up. You know, I was like, because I was like, I wasn't gauging distance anymore. I wasn't like fucking controlling my breathing. I wasn't controlling my techniques with my steps, and it was just sloppy. So yeah, no wonder why adrenaline exhausts you, because it's so fucking inefficient. But for like 1 or 2 seconds, it's better. It's like it's the best thing ever. It's like an ill-fitted.
It comes in clutch sometimes.
Yeah, it's like an ill-fitted supercharger. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say it's a good way to blow up your engine if you don't if you don't know how to manage it.
Can I ask you something? So you're better with motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
So motorcycles usually function off of like 2 cylinders.
I mean, conventionally, it could be anywhere from 1 to 4. Anything more than that, they don't really produce anymore. There was like a period in the 70s where people were doing like 5, 6, and 7 cylinder machines, but it's not commonplace. Like the most you'll see is 4. That's a lot of sport bikes will do 4. There's like V4.
4-cylinder motorcycles? What?
Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about drag though, right? Not like circuit shit.
No, not at all. Check out this. It's a little 350 4-cylinder. So each cylinder is like the size of a pill bottle, but there's
Dude,
4.
you literally have like a motor that could power a car in your motorcycle.
Not really. I mean, it's here's the thing. If you have 1 cylinder, you got to think of the force of that piston just going up and down and up and down. They call
and the whole engine is running off that combustion, just off that 1 cylinder.
Yeah, and if you got 2, depending on how they're oriented, they're either oriented next to each other, so they're firing like next to each other like this, or you have them. You could also have them horizontally opposed, so they're firing off like this, or you could have them firing off front to back. That's with a 2-cylinder, and then 4 cylinders. They're usually in line, but sometimes it'll be like 2 V twins next to each other.
All right,
so it'll be like front and back like that.
All right, so you got to make the hand motion again. How to
fuck off? If I could use my both hands at the same time, it's like this, or they're like this, or they're like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Anyways, but it's like if you have a shorter stroke across more pistons, the engine is running more smoothly. So there'll be less vibration. Less vibration means higher efficiency of the engine. So yeah, no, it's like the high performance stuff generally has 4s. Inline 4s and V4s. That's like the peak performance.
So then, do you want to help me out? Like, listen, I want to do a God, the chat's anyone in the chat who like knows what I'm talking about is gonna shit on me for this, but I do want to do a coyote swap on my Mustang, which basically means I have to swap the motor with like a bigger motor than a more zippier motor than a 4.0 V6 Cologne engine. You know, like I have to swap it out with a Coyote engine. I had to do the Coyote swap and Gen 1 Coyote, probably not like a Gen 2, 3, or 4. And so the process takes. I'm told.
Is that like what's the configuration of the engine? Is it like
so here's the big deal. It's the engine is its own thing. You know, like you have to make sure the engine the brackets will fit, but it's Ford. Ford will fit a lot of like weird shit. So I'll do that. And then but the biggest thing is the engine harness. And like luckily the model I have, the 2005 S197 chassis, is a fairly new model, so it could probably fit some new shit. The only thing is the wiring harness for the engine, because that's gonna be a little weird, like because no matter what, like there's a harness for what could interact with like everything connected to the chassis, and then there's the actual motor itself. But like if I got like a Gen 1 Coyote engine, then that's gonna require me to get adapters.
Yeah,
make.
new like fuel monitoring systems and stuff like that.
Not really. I mean, because I'm not planning to do anything. It's basically just putting like a truck engine in a coupe. You know,
Okay.
it's like it's
So
it's
you're
like
gonna have to get like a bigger hood and stuff like that. No, it just fits
maybe.
in there. It fits in there nice and good. Like all the engine mounts, you might have to like fab some engine mounts, or the engine mounts are basically the same.
Yeah. So I could do that. I could do. So here's my plan. So before I even think of a Coyote swap, I want to slap a supercharger on my V6 and ride into the dirt. So that's easier for you. You know, like you could do that. Like that's like literally bolt on shit. You know, like when it comes to
Yeah,
that,
more air, more gas. Yep.
yeah, first things first, my rear differential, like where the rear axle gearbox is, you know,
Yep.
where the pinions are.
All the power goes. Yeah.
I have to swap it to from a 7.5 diameter or dimensional thing to like an 8.8. Then it can handle more torque, more power, and then I could slap a supercharger on it. I can't even
Do you
put
need like a whole new rear axle too?
yeah. So I have choices. I could either swap the pinions and do like a intricate job, or I could just rip it off of a Ford Explorer or some shit.
But
You
you
know,
can
like
keep your transmission.
oh yeah. I
So
can
you
keep
just
my transmission.
slap the motor on, new fucking differential, new and rear axle setup. And
Well, there's a caveat. If I wanted to, I could pay like basically the price of a new car. Like I could pay 15.5 grand just to get the crate engine with the transmission, the engine, and everything. And all I need is a wiring harness. But if I just I'm not
yeah,
gonna
like
I'm not gonna hit you
hours.
with this. Like the rear differential, I'm just gonna do it with a shop that I know. I'm gonna go up because they've worked on like S197s before, and I'm just gonna go up to them and be like, can you swap the rear differential? And I'm pretty sure they can, any I could do it if I had a lift and tools.
Yeah,
Like
that's the thing.
yeah. So like if I could do it, like I'm sure they can do it. So I'm just gonna get them to put in an 8.8 over the 7.5 rear differential, and then I could think about like a Coyote swap or a fucking a supercharger, slap on, bolt on, you know. So my plan is first I'm gonna do the supercharger because I want to wear out this Cologne, this 4.0 liter V6 engine. I'm gonna wear it to the dirt because it's a good fucking engine, dude. This thing, I'm pretty sure if I slap the supercharger on it, like I'll at least get 300 horsepower. Like, because right now I'm at like 210, but like it's probably like 180 on the wheel. You know, like so if I could get it
Fuck,
to
you cut out.
no. So my I'm probably at like 210 horsepower, but at the wheel it's probably like 180. You know, like with all the mechanics in play. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if I could like boost it to at least 300 on the wheel, I'll be satisfied. I don't need a fucking 800 horsepower engine. I don't need that shit. I don't need a 500 horse. All I need is 300 plus, and I'm good. You know, like, I'm not trying to race. I'm not trying to pass like fucking Ferraris and shit. I'm just trying to like get where I need to go and not let anyone on the right pass me, and I'll be okay. You know, just anything 300 plus is fine for a naturally aspirated, maybe turbocharged, if not naturally aspirated. Like I'll be okay with it. You know, like 300 plus, I'll be satisfied.
I mean, I've seen people hook up like leaf blowers to an intake and, just hypercharge their shit that way. I don't know, turbos are fun, it's most of the stuff that I messed around with is carbureted anyways, so it's like it's easier to fuck with the air fuel mixture. But I'm just doing like really like fine tune stuff, like
Nah, I think
different
you'll have
pilot
fun with it.
jets,
I think
different main
because like
jets.
because a Mustang, what I've learned, like especially with the S197 body, it's very simple. You know, it's like it's just modern enough to be able to like work with, but it's like just classic enough to not have a bunch of like bullshit. Like, did you ever see these cars in the street with like the automatic turn off, like of the engine when it's idle
Yeah,
for
I
like
hear that shit all the time.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck, dude? Why would you ever give your money to that? Like, come on, man. Like, it's
Fuel
not.
efficiency.
No. We got it. We that is worth killing people over. Like, in my opinion. Like,
Maybe, I don't know. Like my dream car is like a hot rod with like, no fucking hood. It still has fucking rack and pinion steering. It maybe has 3 gears.
I
Just
just don't.
like an old rat rod, like on like a Model A frame or something.
No, I don't agree with it. But yeah, we're at the yo. I just want to say thank you so much for filling out the last hour with me, man.
Yeah, of course. We always have good conversations,
Well, the question
considering.
is, do you think we're gonna meet in person before we die?
I mean, there's so much life left to be lived. Yeah, I'm sure. I've got some just yeah. If I'm ever out in New York, which is probably more likely than you ever coming to Kentucky, then yeah, sure, that'd be tight, dude.
Well, I'm hoping by the time you get here, I would at least slap a 8.8 differential with a supercharger on my fucking Mustang, and then you could drive
Yeah,
it.
man, take
Yeah.
it for a ride.
But
Did
also,
you
I do want.
are you familiar with Monster Track NYC?
Yeah, I was at the
You
I
were
was at
there?
the yeah, I was at the prom ride. But the night before Monster Track, there was a group ride, and I was there. And honestly, I just wanted to see what the Peugeot pussy was like. Like
I might try to go to the next one. A bunch of my buddies,
are you
who
serious,
ride Fixed Out, a bunch of my buddies who ride Fix Out here all flew there. Well, not a bunch,
dude?
but like 5 of them.
Wait, if you go, are you planning to go as a competitor or like a mechanic?
I mean, I'd be down to ride it. Like, I'm not gonna try to fucking win or anything. I just want to ride my bike in New York.
Because I'm telling you, like, if you try to like win, like you're gonna get fucked up.
Oh,
Like
dude, I know.
these dudes
I did
are
an alley cat
incredibly
out
yeah.
here, and I got fucking smoked. Granted, I was doing an alley cat on a tall bike, so I only did half of the checkpoints, and then after we made it through the first itinerary, he's like, "All right, you're halfway through," and handed
Wait,
over a
wait,
set.
wait, wait, wait. Have you ever been a bike messenger before?
No, never. I
Oh
mean, like, I
man,
used to commute in LA on a fixie, but like I've
dude, that
never.
to be a bike courier, it's like it's a terrible job. It's a very bad job to bank your future on, but it's very fun when you're like 19 to like 28 because like you could do whatever you want, like you could take pictures, you could see shit, and then when you get a call for delivery, you go and answer it. As long as you're physically able, you'll make money.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's all there is to it. And you'll see a lot of crazy shit. The only problem is like I was brought up by a lot of like old school messengers and they're fucking retards. Like I don't know how else to I don't know how else to
I'm
put it.
familiar with the type. I can only imagine that.
No,
kind of
the like when it
with
comes to
people.
riding, like they could outride me any day. I'm not even a slouch myself. Like I'm not bad on a no brake fixie. Like I could get around, but these guys are on another level, and it's like, but they're also retarded. When it comes to life, and I'm like, God damn it, man.
Well, it takes a certain kind of bravery to ride that kind of a bicycle and to make a lifestyle out of it, for sure.
Well, a lot of the messengers, I just want to say, were also crackheads who are just trying to ride to make enough so that they could buy goods. All right. So anyway,
Yeah.
I just want to say, your kids are going to be 18 before you know it, and after that point, start a band with me, man.
Dude, I'd be down to send files back and forth now. Shit.
Nah. You can't do anything right now. You have children. When your children are adults, then we'll talk.
Yeah, I'm trying to have enough to start a band with, actually, now that you mention it. So I don't know. We'll see.
No. Don't do that. Just we could do it as old men. We could start an old man band. I think
I'm down.
if I had to start an old man band, there's no one else that I would want to do it with.
Hell yeah, man.
Honestly.
Count me in. That sounds great.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do an old man band. I mean, I'm only 33 years old. So by the time both of us are in our mid to late 40s, we'll start our fucking old man band. And I'm no such. Like, you know what? I think it's time for me to post another a music playing video type thing. So just to show people, hey, I could still play instruments. I could still make music. I could still write songs. Okay, please don't forget me.
Pressure. Yeah.
Nah, it's all good. No. It's just like music. Yo, you got to remember how powerful it is to just understand how like oscillations work on the sound spectrum. If you know that much, that's a lot of power to have over people, because you know how the sound spectrum affects people emotionally. So even playing like a minor scale over a major scale, that's enough to like make people feel like they're the shit versus making people feel like they're just a little part of something bigger. Like,
I feel that.
yeah. So and well, you don't just feel that. Like, you heard me say that, and I hope you just rolled your eyes and you're like, yeah, I know all this shit, man.
No, I'm with it. Sorry, my brain's just somewhere else because I'm packing dinner up away right now. But yeah, no, music is an incredibly powerful tool and outlet, and I love it. I owe my life to music, actually. So yeah, no, I think
Yo, can I tell you something? I'm gonna give you a secret. You can't tell anyone. You can't even tell your wife.
okay.
All right. So if let's say you get your kid into an instrument, a martial arts, or a craft or whatever, they're gonna hate it at first. But the next one is what gonna be the one they really care about. So let's say you care about guitar. Do not introduce them to the guitar now. Introduce them to something like the bass or the cello or the violin or the viola, and then
I start them all on drums.
That's fucked up.
What do you mean that's fucked up? It's the most accessible one.
No, it's the most needed one. Like, literally, it's like, yo, stop going to college and trade school. Learn the drums. We need drummers, motherfucker. Like, stop trying to get a job, bro. Learn the drums.
Tell me one drummer that you know that doesn't play in 3 bands.
Tell me one good drummer you know that isn't addicted to a serious drug.
Oh, I know quite a few. Actually, every reliable drummer that I know is like too good for drugs. It's always
but how many is that? I bet you could count them on like 2 hands tops.
Yeah, no, that's true.
See. Whereas guitarists, like, I know a lot of I know guitarists that are retarded. Like, I literally know great guitarists that have Down syndrome. Like, dude, I know guitarists that have Down syndrome that can play Stairway to Heaven. I'm not even kidding. Like, I know literal short bus guitarists that can play, but bassists and drummers, like even an idiot that can play the drums or a genius that can play the drums. I only know very few good drummers, whether they're smart or dumb. Like, drummers are rare. But I know a lot of guitarists. I know a lot of bassists.
Every good bassist that I know is easily the most talented person in whatever band they're playing in. So yeah, that's a fact.
All right, so I got one more spliff to smoke before we close up. I know we're running a little late, but I'm kind of proud that we're able to run this late. And I also want to all right, so Maga Maha. Oh shit, who's this? Did someone just come in on the stream? Who is this? Is that you, Andrew? I hear you. Oh, now you're muted. Why'd you mute yourself? I'm gonna unmute you. What'd you say?
Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on.
I'm holding.
I'm good.
All right, good. What were we talking about before? Do you remember?
You were gonna say something like critical or profound.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have time for one more joint before we close up the stream, and I just want to come up with some closing statements, maybe. Well, besides closing statements, all right. What should I expect to learn? What do the motorcycle instructors want from me to get a motorcycle license? They just want to know I know how to work a clutch, I guess, with the throttle, and
Yeah,
learn how to
just
shift gear with my foot instead of my fucking hand.
yeah, just go, stop, shift, and look, just be vigilant. You'll pick it up real easy. If you're gonna do the MSF course, you learn on a really small, easy to handle bike, and it's actually a lot of fun. And you pick up a lot of stuff that you're definitely gonna use out on the road.
Dude, I want to go riding with you. Like, I want to ride. You know what? All right. So my dad was like, he didn't want me to get a motorcycle license because he was like, what kind of motorcycle do you want? And I said, I wanted a Honda, like a cruiser, those big fat fucking like wide displacement bikes with the fucking just the cruiser bars and the
Like
and
a
the back
Goldwing
stand.
or something.
Yeah, like a Goldwing. That's
Okay,
my
perfect,
ideal
perfect.
bike. I love that shit. Just to be able to go like 100 miles no problem, and I'm like, yeah, I'm cruising. And I could just like listen to the radio. I don't need headphones. It's just cruising. That's my ideal bike, like a Honda Goldwing. Like
It's I mean, the longest motorcycle trip ever recorded was undertaken on a Goldwing. So yeah, do it.
yeah, that's my ideal.
Goldwings are great. That was my first ever motorcycle, was a Goldwing.
All right, so I got one last question for you while I smoke this joint, and this is a controversial question.
Do it.
You know, at the Cannonball Run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when so for those of you who don't know, the Cannonball Run is essentially a ride from the east to west coast nonstop, and it's timing how fast you can do it. So the fastest Cannonball Run was a certain time, and it was reasonable enough. But then COVID happened, and some guy got like a tricked out BMW with like 6 to 8 fuel cans so he didn't even have to stop for gas. Like, he just loaded into his car, and he didn't have to worry about cops. He didn't have to worry about speeding limits. He just went straight through, and he beat it. But a lot of like forum members, a lot of gatekeepers were like, that doesn't count because it was during this. But I think it does count. I think those people are just like, you're just mad because you weren't able to think of it before them.
And when is the opportunity ever going to come up again?
Exactly. Like, dude, imagine if you had like a 500 to 600 horsepower car, and I could just load it up with gas and I could just beat the world record to go from coast to coast in America. Like, I could beat the fastest time to go from like New York to California. I could be the fastest guy in the world to ever do that just because this happened and these cars exist and I have the resources. Like, you can't hate him for that. He did it.
It counts.
However, when there's no lockdown, things, like,
Yeah, you have to deal
it's
with traffic. I drove from Los Angeles to Louisiana in 27 hours, only stopping for coffee, 5-hour energies, and gas, and that was just in a shitty 1989 Mazda 929S. So I don't think I went more than like 110. So I can only imagine, in a fucking supercar.
no, dude, 110 is still pretty, what I would say, retarded. Like, I've never went 110 in my life. What I will say is I've gotten to places a lot faster than my friends, but damn, I want to reach top speeds. I can't do that in New York City.
110 in a car before? I hit 110 in a Prius. Come on, man.
I've done it. Just, I want to do it in New York. It's just, I've done it, but when I wasn't anywhere near the state, and it's like, to do it in New York City, that would be an achievement. That's like,
Yeah, that's on hard mode, dude. Why would you?
Yeah. Because that's my home turf. You know, you can't say you really reached 110 unless you did it around where you live. You know, yeah, maybe I did it in like Canada, maybe I did it in like Tennessee, but I can't say I've ever done it in like New York City, and that's my home. You know, where you live, you could be like, yeah, I can hit that no problem. You know, not that I'd ever do it. I'm not trying to be the fastest guy. There's too many people in New York City that are like stupid as hell, and they have way faster cars than me.
I mean, yeah, it's not unless you get that Coyote, you know.
Nah, that all right. First of all, the Coyote engine, anything to get me over 300 horsepower. I don't care what it is. The Coyote is after my engine blows, but I'm pretty sure once I slap a supercharger on a V6, I'm gonna take care of it. Like I'm not gonna try to blow it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
okay? All right, okay.
I'm not gonna try to fuck it up. I replace the spark plugs. I do all that shit. I even go down to the little fucking grommets, you know, like to the S197 hood area, so it's like not flooding. You know, like I do all the tedious shit. But besides all that, what I really want to do is I want to ride bikes fast with you, man. That sounds fun.
Hell yeah, get a motorcycle, dude. Do it.
Yeah. And well, about that, we're pretty much at the point. And thank you so much, Andrew, for actually coming on. Because if you didn't come on, I was totally willing to just hang with the chat for like 2 hours straight.
I know you would have.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for whoever was tuning
Thank you
in.
to Andreas. Andreas is becoming like another Jesus figure.
Advanced philosophy memes. We make good memes. Advanced philosophy memes. Base fucking memes. Advanced philosophy memes. We make good memes. Advanced philosophy memes. Base fucking memes. Shoutouts to Andreas, Deacon, my boy Scott, Pedro, and everyone else that engages on my posts, etc. Keep it up, man. You'll get there someday. And everyone else from Great Memes.
All right, bro. I'm out.